Mongoose Jake here, back again with another battle here on the Murovank map. Just like with my 25 TP Tier 5 Polish medium battle, I am on the north end of the map starting, and again, I take a moment here just to watch my team, make sure enough people are going to the right locations before heading out. Now, this time I'm in the IKV 103, the Tier 5 Swedish tank destroyer, and you will see again there I have 2 marks on the barrel. I've been playing it and actually enjoying this thing quite a lot. But once again, I do not have a highly trained crew. This crew is 100%, but they're only training in camouflage, and they're a little over halfway to completing their first skill. Because I did, once again with this vehicle, start out with a base 75% crew that I paid credits for, and I've been just playing it along here in daily doubles and a few extra battles here and there. So I don't have Sixth Sense, I don't have any gun handling skills, just flat camouflage, because this little tank destroyer, it has to stay very sneaky and stealthy. That's the key to its survival, along with repositioning with a good mobility. Now, you see me watching, because just like in that 25 TP battle, we have a heavy going down the center. And I don't get the idea of that. It's a bad idea. Now here, I thought I would remain undetected with that shot on the Panzer T-25, because he had bush cover with him, and I was sitting in a bush. I did not pull back, and I wasn't in double bush coverage, but he had a bush in front of him, and I had a bush in front of me, which in some cases is enough to keep you stealthy. But I took 2 hits, one from him and one from the enemy Lago. So I bailed, doubled back, and I'm going to reposition so I'm not in the same position when I start firing again. A big issue is that if you do decide to go dark, if you go back to the same position, well, a lot of times the enemy will be pre-aimed there. So don't do that. Try to reposition and find a new location. And here I am using the building to at least cover my right side, and I'm looking to get shots on the ridgeline snipers there, when I notice a Durchbruchwagen 2, of course it's the DW2, one of my favorite tanks in the game. He's in the middle. I will not get this obsession with heavies going in the middle of Murovank. That's basically a kill zone from anybody sitting on the ridge lines or shooting across from the edge of the forest in the east. And he's sitting there tracked in the open. Of course he's going to get killed. And looking to try to get shots on one of these 2 platooned M8A1s. They'll come into play a little bit later, but I am actually firing. As you see, I have 3 ammo choices. I am actually using the stock gun, and I am firing HE as my basic round. As you see, I land one huge hit on the enemy T-67's turret, which this is the gun I would recommend playing this vehicle with. I carry almost all HE. I've got 4 heat rounds and 4 armor-piercing rounds. And the armor-piercing rounds do have a usefulness, because basically the stock gun on this tank destroyer is sort of a modified howitzer that actually has reasonable armor-piercing capabilities. Because the armor-piercing does have just over 100 millimeters of penetration. So if you have specific targets, thinking like Cromwell's or other medium tanks like that have, middle of the ground armor, which would, reduce your HE, but it's not thick enough to, warrant going into the heat for. Because I basically only use the heat for Tigers. That's my go-to, because it has 110 penetration, which doesn't fall off at distance. And of course, Tigers have a maximum of 100 millimeters of armor. Makes it really, really good against them. Or anything else that's extremely boxy tanks, like say the side of a KV-2 turret or T-150's turret side. Vehicles like that, that's where I use the heat. But in this case, I like actually using the stock gun because of that option for high explosive. The top gun, you only get either 120 millimeters of heat for the standard round, or the premium is also heat and only bumps it up to 140. And heat with bad accuracy is not reliable enough. And there's a time, like say if you run into a KV-3 who's decided that he knows how to play the tank and actually turns and angles, you're not going to penetrate it. 120 or 140 heat isn't good enough to go through most areas on a KV-3 who is angled properly. But enough about the gun. Getting back to the battle, as is with the previous battle that I uploaded, the team didn't position properly in most cases here. I mean, we had very light tanks over here into the western side again, which is not how you want to see your team set up. You need your armor over here because the engagement range is lower on the western side of Murovank, which means you're most likely going to end up getting spotted, and that's where armor and hit points come into play. But our heavies went to the middle again, or went east. And over in the east, mobility, gun depression, gun handling, and just overall awareness is what you need to handle the east a little bit more. All things that typically aren't heavy tank traits. Now, something like a T-32 now could work over there in the east quite well because of the gun depression and the strong turret. But here, we're seeing the enemy also sent their heavy tanks over there, and ours just simply got outplayed. And I land one hit on the enemy DW2 here, which they had 2 on their team. But my second shot fails to connect on him. It looks like artillery is going to shotgun him. But here in a second, we also see this second enemy heavy come out. I've seen about trying to finish off the DW2 here, but I can't quite line up a shot. And that's the narrow gun traverse of the IKV 103 coming into play. And I finally do land a shot, but it's not fully aimed and falls short. Now, I don't believe I'm spotted because that KV-1S would have turned his gun straight towards me here. Because I'm in a bush and I have a tree in front of me and the tree is solid. That's the key. If the foliage is solid, you can fire through it without being spotted. But I pull back just to be careful because he's been hit now twice from there. And he's probably clicking the map to say that, you know, I'm getting shot from this area over here. You can probably picture him pinging the map square. And I back up here to be safe, line up a shot, and take out the KV-1S. And just like I was mentioning on my last stand, come from behind win in the T20 in the 25 TP, gotta try to make all of these engagements one-on-one. I have very high alpha damage, and now at this point, most of these vehicles are going to be very, very one-shottable. The M8A1s, if I can get a shot in their sides, the rear, or up into the turret, like here, he is on the downslope, I'll take the hit. And that shot went right about where I aimed it. I didn't slow it down and look at it in slow-mo, but my shot was, I was aiming into the center of the open turret. And it either hit inside or it hit the top of the hull, which is very, very thin. And as you've seen the result, that's pretty much a guaranteed one shot. Now, when I go into this capture, I'm suspecting it's the other M8A1. I do load my heat, because this is going to be a level ground engagement. Because I can't rely on spotting this M8A1. He's going to be sitting still, maybe has camouflage net, camo paint, all that. I'm going to have to get in there, take a hit, and I'm not going to rely on my HE to be able to one-shot him, because I'm probably going to be hitting his frontal armor. And the M8A1 actually has a little bit of armor. And he is sitting over here in the bushes. He gets the first shot, and that was pure luck. Firing on the move with this very inaccurate gun, but again, high alpha. I can take a hit from a little gun and in return land a 300 damaging hit, which is more than the hit points of an M8A1, and he's gone. A little bit of zigzagging to avoid 3 artilleries. And I've switched back to my HE because now these are all open vehicles, and I actually do outspot this grill. He is attempting to run, which is perfect because now I'm able to land a hit into him. And I do believe I'm probably spotted because if you look at my circles, the green is my spotting, the white is my detection. And he was well within that, so I could have easily have been detected. No sixth sense, so I don't know it, so I'm just driving erratically. But now, my plan is to go up on the ridge line, and if that artillery was out in the open on the move, maybe one of the others is. And then I fully suspect one's going to be at the back of the line. But the idea is, again, to pick them off one by one. Now, I'm easing up. I plan to get in the shrubs right here on the top of the hill, but there's one of the grills right in front of me. And I snapshot him, and the other artillery takes a shot, and I actually own that artillery, and I know it has a 14-second reload, so I just sit still, carefully aim, and finish the game. And that does end in a victory with me on very low health. But that is an ace tanker and a whole bunch of medals, which actually got me 11 bonds for that game. But I got the Kolobanovs, got the Pascucci's, which I'll show you here as I go over it. Actually, that's the Dimitru's medal, not Pascucci's, and Defender for resetting the cap, and High Caliber and Top Gun. But that is the IKV 103 with an ace and a Kolobanovs on Murovank. I'll show you all the results here. I did score over 2,000 damage, and I did fire the few heat shells, so credits weren't as good as could be. But I hope you enjoyed the game anyways. This is Mongoose Jake, and I thank you for watching.